Okay, just a quick rewind from last week. If you missed that video, I'll put a link to it in the card at the top right hand corner, and you should also be able to see it in the description of this video. So today's project is another beginner friendly project, and to make it easier, I'm using almost all the same dimensions from the video from last week, so you should be able to follow through with it easily. The product itself will be different, but the process is quite similar. Okay, so we'll jump right into it and start with cutting the front and the back, which are exactly the same. I'm using a 1x8 board for the entire build, and as you may know, the width of a 1x8 is 7¼ inches wide. So we're going with that for the width, and then it will be 6 inches tall, just as the project we did last week. And then for the two sides, similar to last week, I'm using 2¼ inches for the width, and the height will be 6 inches tall as well. For the top and the bottom, the width will be 2¾ inches wide, similar to the sides, and then the length of it will be 5¾ inches. Once all of the pieces are cut, you should have 6 pieces or 6 sides, and then we'll go on to assembling them using wood glue and some 1½ inch brad nails. And then we don't want to skip sanding. I sanded this one very well, sanded all of the corners and all sides of it very well. So at this point in the video, I just want to remind you that all you need is just a little faith and some DIY action. As always, if you have any specific questions related to this build, please leave them in the comments. I'll do my best to respond to them as quickly as possible. And to cut off the lead, I marked 1¾ inches and then just cut that open to serve as the lead for the keepsake box. So if for some reason you're not able to cut this using a miter saw, you can also cut it using a band saw or a table saw. If you don't have either of those two, the plan that I'll be sharing in the next few days will include the dimensions for the lead, so you will be able to make the cuts for that and assemble it together. Next, I added hardware for the lock and the hinges. If you're interested, I'll put a link to it in the description where you can get it off Amazon. At this point, I want to quickly remind you that all you need is a little bit of faith and some action. As always, I hope you'll have a tangible experience of God's love today. And then you can just put in whatever you want to store in the keepsake box in there. Or you can give it as a gift to a friend or family member. This last step is totally optional. If you're going to store food materials in there, I would suggest using a food safe finish, just like the total boats that I use there. I want you to know that I appreciate you taking the time to watch the video up to this point. And don't leave just yet. You might like one of these other videos that are showing up on your screen right now. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next video.